how's it going everyone? It is Skullzi here with the latest and the greatest gaming news. The news that I want to be talking about today is some crazy shady stuff that I just discovered regarding EA, Electronic Arts, EA Games, whatever you want to call this microtransaction corporate empire that they've become. They try to call stuff like loot boxes and microtransactions surprise mechanics, but I have a surprise mechanic for you EA, because I discovered some very shady recent patents that Electronic Arts has filed that revolve all around preying upon the community by further making their microtransactions, virtual currency, and other things even more cunning and shady. And as always, we're going to be breaking this information down together because I'm going to be recording my screen. That way you can see that my bullshit capacity meter is always running at 0%, and that way you can look this information up to verify it for yourself if you choose to. And we're going to start our adventure right here, which is a list of all of the active, pending trademarks and patents for Electronic Arts. You can see there's a ton of stuff here, way too much to go by individually, but luckily I've done that for you. And the first thing is Swarm Crowd Rendering System. We're not going to be covering this in this video, but it does seem like Electronic Arts wants to take over the world by making some kind of swarm of electronic insects, something like some kind of Black Mirror episode stuff. No, I'm just kidding. What this is just something to further render crowds or swarms of NPCs or something in games. But we're going to be paying special attention to a bunch of patents down here. I think like about 5 of these I'm going to cover real quick, and it can give us an insight into how Electronic Arts is not only continuing to do these really crazy and shady microtransaction stuff, but they're actually researching new ways to make it even more successful in their favor. More ways to prey upon the gaming community, and more ways to make these things seem like too good to be true, a deal you can't refuse kind of stuff, so they can keep pickpocketing money out of your pockets while you sit there on your couch, because you know, spending $60 on a finished product isn't enough now. They want to keep getting more and more money out of you so that you can change the color of your character's freaking boots. But hey, you can change the color of your character's boots across multiple games now. If you want your character in Fortnite and whatever other crappy game that you play to have blue boots, you can do that now because our Lord and Savior Electronic Arts has provided us with virtual containers across online games. Yeah. Oh boy, look at this. Look at the description. It says system and method for providing cross-game virtual containers in online games are disclosed. Virtual items usable in multiple online games may be packaged in a cross-game virtual container. Instances of cross-game virtual container may be presented for purchase by a user in a virtual store. Oh, here we go. The price of a given instance of cross-game virtual container may be set as a fraction of the total of the individual prices of the virtual items in the given instance of cross-game virtual container. So if you're tired of hearing me say cross-game virtual container, don't worry, because I'm about to explain to you exactly what cross-game virtual container is. Cross-game virtual container is pretty much a way for you to have, let's say, 5 to 10 items that you can purchase from EA's virtual mystery transaction store, and then you can have blue boots in multiple games now. Whatever you purchase can be carried over to the characters in other games. So yay, I guess. I mean, this kind of does add more value to your microtransaction purchase, but in a way I feel like this is just going to be used as a way to further prey upon the gaming community even more, because there's only going to be like so many items you can fit into this virtual container before you get that pop-up when it's full saying for even $20 more you can unlock 5 more spots. Here goes EA laying the building blocks and the foundations for more microtransactions to come, even though multiple nations and governments have said that these things should be made illegal, and the gaming community has said loud and clear that we don't want them. EA just continues to not listen to us and do what the hell they want. Good for them. Worst company in the world again. Up here it says, number 2, method and system for facilitating chance-based in-game virtual distribution. The description is a system and method for facilitating chance-based in-game virtual item distribution in the video game. A minigame interface presents a minigame to a user that has committed to a battle. What is this, Pokemon Go? Prior to instigation of the battle, the user participates in a chance-based minigame that determines awards to be distributed to the user from a set of potential awards. This seems like basically a slot machine or something. And while this may not seem like it's implemented towards virtual currencies or microtransactions, it actually is, because it says in-game virtual item distribution, and anything that usually has to do with these microtransaction type things, which is most of the stuff that EA cares about, usually tends to have wording like virtual containers, virtual items, and stuff like that. So what this is to me is a slot machine type situation, to where if you don't win the item that you had your eye on during this minigame, it'll offer you a discount to purchase that item afterwards. I'm calling it now. Whatever this is, let's say like the grand prize, you didn't win it in this minigame, afterwards it's gonna say didn't get what you wanted, 20% off now now, the only chance, get this item, spend money, microtransactions, more. But let's move on. Let's move on all the way down to, I think, like 30 now, past all these other patents, and we get to some technology that has actually been in the works at EA as far back as 2014, but just now seems to be granted and published by EA and being used. That's how long Electronic Arts has been researching this type of evil villain microtransaction technology, because that's literally what this is. This is technology patented by Electronic Arts that serves only one purpose: to further allow their microtransactions and loot box type situations to further prey upon the gaming community. Now this one's super interesting. Number 30, providing virtual items configured to facilitate temporary time requirement suspension in an online game. It says a system and method for facilitating game action time requirement suspension in an online game are disclosed. Instances of time requirement suspension items may be offered for purchase in an online store associated with the online game. A given time requirement suspension item may be configured to reduce time requirements, wait periods for game actions requested by a player during a corresponding time period. This one kind of seems loud and clear, and it should be no surprise that if you have a very time limited thing, let's say you can only do something every 12 hours in a game, or queue for a certain raid every 4 hours or 8 hours or once a day even, if you give EA enough money, they're gonna let you do what you want, like they would with anything. EA would probably just let you take their wife if you gave them enough money by this point, and the pay to win mechanic is very heavy here, because if there's a time suspension or a time limit for how many times you can do a certain thing in a game, it's for balance purposes. That's the only reason this would exist, is for balance purposes. And if EA's allowing you to pay to kind of put that balance in your favor, that is definite pay to win mechanics, and EA very clearly plans on continuing to implement pay to win mechanics, because this is a recent patent that has been filed in the last few months and that has been researched for the last few years. Here we go again. Delayed purchase request triggered online game platform registration. A system and or method for enabling a user to access a game without registering a platform account. In implementations responsive to receiving an initial purchase request from an unregistered user, a platform registration request may be generated for the user to obtain stated information from the user for the inclusion in a registered platform account. So what this is saying almost is that if you don't want an account, EA can still get that information from you through your unregistered purchase and basically set up a ghost account for you anyway. So they'll let you purchase something in their virtual store with their virtual currency because they want your money, but they also want your information. If you don't want a permanent account with them in whatever online store this is, they'll just kind of make you one, at least on their end, because EA not only wants your money, they want your information, and they want your soul. Give them your soul. Next we go down to number 33, which is even more shady. System and method for providing virtual items through virtual purchases with a decreasing secondary virtual currency. The summary is a decreasing secondary virtual currency is used in a system for providing virtual items through virtual purchases. Physical processors may be configured by machine-readable instructions to execute the online game. Manage user accounts, effective presentation of offers to sell primary and secondary virtual currencies, decrease the virtual currencies over time, check that out, and the effective presentation of offers to sell virtual items. The secondary virtual currency component may decrease over time, meaning that they're going to have multiple virtual currencies, and depending on whatever they choose to, or depending on how much, if a deal is too good or how much money people are spending on one item or another item, EA can actually change the value of the secondary currency, forcing you to use the more expensive currency to get your items now. So now if they think people are getting too much of a deal, they can actually either cut off a secondary currency or reduce the value in it, forcing you to use the more expensive currency for your items for an extended period of time. That just sounds super shady and almost illegal, but you can see clear as day that's what this is saying. That's what number 33 is saying. Alternatively, it could be saying that the secondary currency actually decreases over time in terms of quantity, meaning that if you don't spend the secondary currency, it's going to go away. And if that's the case, again, I would assume that the primary currency is the one that you buy with money, and the secondary currency is the one you earn in the game. However, if you don't use that currency over a set amount of time, it's going to go away. So if you're trying to save up for something super expensive with the secondary currency, you better play that game non-stop. Make all that secondary currency as much as possible, because EA is just going to reduce the value eventually. So yeah, more shady crap. And then number 34, we're not done yet. System and method for adjusting the user cost associated with purchasable items. A virtual space is provided to users via client computing devices where the user cost associated with purchasable virtual items may be adjusted. A game shop interface may be presented to users, comprising offers to purchase sets of one or more virtual items to the user. The associated user cost for the one or more sets of virtual items may be adjusted upon a determination that the rate of purchase of and or the revenue generated from the virtual items is more than a specified threshold from the average average rate of purchase. See, this is exactly what I was just saying. So they can actually adjust the prices of stuff on the fly depending on if they're happy with their amount of sales and profits. That's literally what this is saying. If they feel like they're not making enough money, they're gonna make stuff more expensive. Great. We love EA, don't we? That's so awesome. The rest of this stuff is just basic gaming trademarks and patents, as well as a few other kind of shady things, but nothing too crazy. That's the gist of everything I wanted to cover in today's video. As you can see, not only is EA not listening to the gaming community about not wanting these microtransactions, and especially not wanting them to be pay to win, EA is actually ignoring us and completely researching new ways of making this stuff more beneficial to them. These patents are very clear of their indication of how they see the gaming community as just a big herd of cows and sheep that they can milk for all the money they can get out of us, and the only way we can stop this is by sharing this video, spreading this information, calling out EA for what they are, and letting them know that we know their secrets. And as always, I want to know what you have to say about all of this. Let me know down in the comments below, and if your comment wins the internet and make it featured in a future video. Don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed the content, subscribe to the channel, and turn notifications on if you want to stay in the know about the latest and the greatest gaming news. Follow me over on Twitter for the latest gaming and channel updates. Come over to the community Discord chat server where there is always an awesome and active conversation and some speculation taking place. If you want to get yourself some Skullzi merchandise or loot, come over to the loot drop over on Teespring, the official Skullzi merchandise site. And if you want to have your hand in providing future content and getting access to unique and awesome awards, then consider subscribing to the community over on Patreon for as low as $1, or joining the channel here on YouTube as an exclusive channel member. Links for all of these awesome things are down in the description below, and as always, thank you for watching. Be sure to tune in next time when EA's swarm crowd rendering system takes over the world in less than 24 hours. Boy, I was wrong about that. I probably should have made a video about the swarm crowd rendering system.
It just works.